for the fans, welcomes you to the following presentation of the Simulation Football League.
Line, London, England. It's week one of the Simulation Football League's 17th season. And on a beautiful night from the Queensway Stadium, it's the London Knights and the Atlanta Swarm. Two teams disappointing season 16s, looking to turn it around in season 17. Hello and a very warm welcome to the SFL Saturday Showcase on For the Fans. I'm Michael Trillo. Josh Zirkle is alongside me in the broadcast booth, along with Delaney Nash and Hattori Hanzo on stats. And Josh, I mentioned in the cold open that these two teams had down seasons last season, looking to pick it back up, but they have very different ways of going about it.
Yeah, they really do. And I think for Atlanta, it's going to come down to Brian Dynasty and improving upon his 31 interceptions, from season 16. And this is a guy who can throw the football around. Three receivers, Michael, had over 70-plus catches for Atlanta just a season ago. Siege Falco led that with 73. Boo Chisholm with 72. And BDG Hollywood, the running back, had 70. And I think Dynasty's got to figure in heavily here. And on the other side of the field, Johnny Pickler will make his London Knights debut. And he's going to have the assistance of Robert Merrill, who had over 1,000 yards from scrimmage in season 16. And get this, 283 touches. Michael, I didn't think that was possible in a 12-game season.
He is certainly one to watch for. The Atlanta Swarm and London Knights have both gone very different directions in their off-season. The Swarm have only changed 4 players from last season's squad, 3 of them through the draft, and Jack Napier, the only trade coming from Mexico City, but he was a former Atlanta Swarm member. Meanwhile, 8 players changed over for the London Knights roster, including Johnny Pickler, who we will see first off because the London Knights will get the ball first. Kicker Sammy Steele for the Atlanta Swarm puts his foot to the football, and we are underway. From Queensway, taken at the 5-yard line is the return. Saren Storm, the wide receiver, on returning duties this afternoon. Well, afternoon of the States, evening over in London. We'll bring the ball up to the 29-yard line. Here's the starting offense for the London Knights. Quarterback Johnny Pickler. Running back Robert Merrill. Wide receivers Vin Kalia, Mike St. Green, and Saren Storm. Tight end Benji Matson. And on the offensive line, it's Perrin Ibarra and Butch Menor. 3 wide receivers split wide to the left. Single right, 1st and 10. London in the all-black with gold and burgundy trim. And Pickler, his first pass as a London Knight is a beauty. Into double coverage, and Vin Kalia hauls it in at midfield.
And I'm telling you, Michael, if you like SFL drama in all its forms, Johnny Pickler is a quarterback for you. Johnny 2K becoming Johnny UK now, playing for the Knights. Had a well-documented exit from Louisiana a season ago, and now here he is under center for London.
Playing on his 3rd team in 4 seasons is Pickler. He's in the gun once again. Plenty of time to work, and hits Mike St. Green, another new addition to this London roster on a crossing route for 11 yards and a first down.
Yeah, Mike St. Green, another newcomer as well. Remember, played season 16 in Jacksonville, caught 46 balls for them as well. And the passing game's going to be wide open. Johnny Pickler's going to try and find out who his number 1 guy here is. There's a good chance it could be Mike St. Green.
Yeah, Saren Storm, Mike St. Green, and Vin Kalia all vying for that WR1 position on this team. 3rd straight snap for Pickler from the shotgun. This time he throws it and it's almost intercepted. In and out of the hands of Moose Papano, the free safety. I'll take this time to go over the starting defense for the Swarm, and it is a big one. The defensive line, Chris Porter, Billy Ray Valentine, Leo Jefferson, and Joshua Williams. The linebackers, Garrett Hudson and Cree Higgins, along with the Qantas Shine. Corners, Jack Napier, Jay Rock, and Jay Miraculous. And safeties, Chris Henry and the aforementioned Moose Papano. First time a second down play on this drive for the London Knights. It'll be from the 38-yard line of Atlanta. Shotgun snap, firing to the far side and way overthrows St. Green. And Pickler's got to be lucky that that one's not picked off for the second play in a row.
And you see the big spats taped to the legs of Mike St. Green. Might have to take some of the tape off going to the sidelines. Looked like either Pickler overthrew him or Green underran the route.
I mentioned Aquantis Shine on the the linebacker for Atlanta, number 2 in total tackles all time in the SFL. Here's that 4-wide set again. Pressure coming from the backside, but underneath, the pass is complete to Robert Merrill, and it's the running back's first touch of the season, and it's through the passing game, something that he was very good with last season.
Absolutely. 113 receptions for the running back. That was absolutely tops in the league. Average 5.1 yards a catch only, so he doesn't bring a lot of explosion to the passing game, but he will bail out his quarterback, as Pickler just found out there.
Another first down for London, 9:28 to go first quarter. Pickler alone in the backfield this time. Underneath it goes, first touch for Benji Matson. And now every skill position player for the London Knights has touched the ball on this drive, and you have to believe that that was Liam Crowder and Angus McLean and their coaching staff's intention on this first drive.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to tip your hand here. You don't want to show any tendencies. Get everybody involved, get everybody into a rhythm early, and then let the chips fall where they may.
Low snap for Pickler, fires end zone, double coverage caught for the touchdown. And the first score of the Pickler era in London goes to Vin Kalia. He had 5 touchdowns a season ago and just shy of 1,000 receiving yards.
Yeah, his 5 touchdowns led the team, Michael, and he makes a great catch here in the corner of the end zone. Gets a little rub off of St. Green there. It just goes up and gets it. Outstanding catch by the 4th-year wide receiver, 6'2", 201. He needed every inch of his 6'2" frame to make that catch.
Burning the safety Papineau for sitting too deep on that route, and London strikes first. Remember, St. Louis and Tulsa, the Gladiators and the Desperados, coming up on the SFL's Twitch page shortly. Kick on the way from kicker Peter McLongfellow is up, and it is good. 8:57 to go in the first quarter. London calling 7, Atlanta Swarm nothing. This is the Simulation Football League presented by APM Music on For the Fans. And if you could write a script of how you wanted an opening drive to go if you were Johnny Pickler, couldn't have gone much better than that.
No, that was absolutely fantastic, and we saw Pickler come out very aggressive, dealing. You mentioned he spread the ball around. He got a pass to Robert Merrill, got a pass to Vin Kalia in the end zone. That's about as good as it gets right there. 7-0 London.
Kickoff returned by rookie Ryan Roosevelt up to the 29. So Atlanta will have the exact same starting position as London did. And with the Atlanta Swarm, we're about to see a completely different offensive philosophy. So much of this offense runs through the big man, BDG Hollywood.
Yeah, absolute Hall of Famer, entering his 10th season, the all-time leader in carries, yards, and rushing touchdowns, and 5th all-time in receptions.
And off to Hollywood, and you can see why he is so lauded right there. 9 yards on first down, 2nd and inches coming up. He also needs 1 receiving touchdown to catch Pete Bruschi for first all-time by receiving touchdowns for a running back. He currently has 27. The record stands at 28.
Good chance he could hit that mark in this game, Michael.
A lot of use for Hollywood comes out of the swing pass, 300 reception yards a season ago. This time, Brian Dynasty takes a look to the near side, and Siege Falco is unable to haul that one in. Here's the rest of the offense for Atlanta. Bryant Dynasty at quarterback, BDG Hollywood at running back, Mitchell O'Brien at fullback. Wide receivers, Siege Falco, Ryan Roosevelt, and Boo Chisholm, Jamal Wooding at tight end. And keep an eye on Jamal Wooding. He led all tight ends in yards per catch in season 16 with over 16.5. Here's 3rd down and inches. Under center goes Dynasty. He's going to throw underneath, and Boo Chisholm makes his first catch of the game for a first down.
And Chisholm entering his 10th season as well. Very productive last year, caught 72 balls. His 8 touchdown receptions was 4th best on the SFL leaderboard. And you know, Brian Dynasty is expecting another huge season out of Boo Chisholm.
Alongside BDG Hollywood, the 2 longest tenured members of this team at 10 seasons. And a Qantas Shine as well, the linebacker we talked about last drive, also has 10 seasons on the Atlanta Swarm. Dynasty stands in. Over the middle, there's Chisholm in amongst the chess pieces of the London defense for a first down. Here is that London defense. Selwyn Lane, William Davidson, Cam Frosby, and Chad Rowland on the defensive line. Jeff Gagne, Tony Roberto, and Telemax Scarborough, the linebackers. Tanner Hendricks, Brandon Ewing, and Emmanuel Blackman, the corners. Rain Rie and Anthony Wayo at safety. A lob pass over the middle. Not a lot of bite to that one, but it is hauled in London territory. And there's the first catch for Jamal Wooding. He is their deep threat despite being a tight end.
Yeah, absolutely. 16 yards per catch last season. That was 8th best in the SFL for all receivers. And has 220 career receptions. You can make it 221 now. Great catch on a well-thrown ball by Bryant Dynasty.
Also scampered into the end zone 7 times. Did Jamal Wooding in season 16. First down at the 31. Handoff, Hollywood running middle. And he is wrapped up and dropped by the linebacker, Jeff Gagne.
And that's a nice gain on first down, Michael. Anytime you could get 6 yards, especially in this area of the field, you're setting yourself up for second and medium, second and short, third and short. That's going to make your offensive day much more pleasant.
And that is one of the benefits of having BDG Hollywood in your backfield, is every time he touches the ball, he's almost guaranteed a couple of yards. Is that, although right there, Jeff Gagne gets the better of him and knocks him down for no gain. We have yet to see the patented BDG spin that sends so many defenders for a ride, but I'm sure we'll see that before too long.
Would not surprise me in the least. You probably could have used a spin right there. Jeff Gagne had his number on that play.
Second straight set of downs with a third down and medium coming up for Atlanta. Dynasty in the gun. 4 wide receivers spread out. 4-man rush. Here's the pass over the middle. Tipped and incomplete.
Dynasty
bouncing
looking for
around back there. Apologies, Josh. It was bouncing around back there, and it almost was intercepted by Anthony Weil, but it does hit the turf.
Yeah, gaggle of defenders there. Dynasty looking for Boo Chisholm.
Wait a minute. Did they say that Siege Falco came up with that catch? Unbelievable.
What?
What?
Unreal.
Wow. I'm going to have to see another replay of that at some point, because now it's first and goal, and Siege Falco comes up with a toe tap touchdown. Back-to-back ridiculous plays by the 7-season veteran wide receiver, and it's an extra point away from a tie ball game.
And you could forgive the London defense for being a little stunned here. We're sitting here just as stunned in the booth. Probably surprised that they got that ball spotted. Dynasty went up, snapped it right away. And Falco just running that slant route toward the goalpost. Ran through the goalpost. That's an impressive trick. But touchdown, and Siege Falco ties up this game pending the extra point, Michael.
That was nuts. And you know what's more nuts? Siege Falco just went over 7,000 career receiving yards with those 2 catches. Kick on the way and good from Sammy Steele. We got a tie ball game in London. 5:32 to go first quarter. And a touchdown for each of the 2 offenses on their opening drives.
Well, Michael, I know you love to call close games, and I know you love to call shootouts, and we might be on the verge of both of those right now. 2 drives, 2 touchdowns. Both of these offenses that added some parts in the previous offseason looking pretty good right now.
And usually you say that defenses have the upper hand early in the season because offensive rhythm is off. Not so here. Offenses turn it up early. Flag on the return for Saren Storm might push the London offense back a little bit. And they are going to call the Knights for a hold.
Just a note on the special teams, Michael. A little bit of a surprise to see Saren Storm getting the call to return kicks and punts. You do remember Mike St. Green had that job in Jacksonville, and that's obviously a luxury for London to have that depth at the special team side of things. But a little surprise there to see Saren Storm, and I wonder if we will see St. Green assume some of those duties perhaps later in the season.
First and 10 now from the 16. A free play for London as Atlanta jumps offside. Catch out of the backfield for Merrill, and it looks like they might take the penalty as he only got 2 or 3 yards before being pushed out of bounds by Jay Miraculous.
Yeah, this is a week 1 jitters. Everybody's got them. They all manifest themselves in different ways. And in the case of London here, they're going to get a free 5 yards out of it.
Not the start that Chris Porter wanted to the game as he gifts a 1st and 5 to the Knights. Porter, a 3-season veteran, all with the Swarm. 5.5 sacks, 9 tackles for loss a season ago.
And that's one of the things you notice about this Atlanta defense. Look, got a lot of guys, they show up here and they stay here. Most of these guys don't leave the program once they arrive.
Pickler, another dart. This time to St. Green, right over the outstretched arm of Papineau for a 1st down for London.
And that's just another well-thrown ball. I mean, Pickler getting this up and putting this on the corner route there, only where St. Green could get it. You see the reach there by the DB, nowhere to go. And Pickler putting it right on the money to Mike St. Green.
Heck, that was Corey Mickens who almost got a paw to that ball, but it was into the hands of St. Green. Up towards midfield now. Again, 4 wideouts, 3 in a bunch formation, and he comes near side. And that pass is caught, turning upfield, getting close to a 1st down at the 46.
And there's Rocco McLovin,
yep,
the backup wide receiver. They're getting everybody involved in Michael. You might be catching a pass out there in a minute.
Hey, if he throws it this way, I don't know. Pickler's got a good enough arm, he may be able to reach the broadcast, but if he throws it this way, I'm ready.
If he throws it this way, I'm going to cover my face. I can't catch to save my life.
A little more of a power look here for London on 2nd and less than a yard. Let's see if Merrill gets his first carry of the ball game. It's not. Pickler over the middle finds a space in the soft zone, and Mike St. Green again makes the secondary pay for Atlanta.
And Atlanta's got to be wondering the same thing you are, Michael. When is London going to start running the ball? You thought they were going to do it out of that set, but no, it's St. Green again. And look at him. This is just a great route right in between the 2 defenders. Nowhere for them to go. And Moose Papineau, very fortunate to bring him down because St. Green's taking that to the house if he doesn't.
Mike has fantastic top-end speed, and if he gets to the corner, he's more than likely gone. Again, 4 wide from the 30. Drives dropping like wildflowers here, and another pass caught inside the 10.
And that's Vin Kalia again.
Vin Kalia.
Another outstanding catch, and that corner route has been money, money, money for Johnny Pickler. And you see they're just running this all the way to the sideline. That catch a little closer to the numbers, with Jay Miraculous reaching for it. And once again, that ball from Johnny Pickler just over the fingertips of the DB, and it's 1st and goal London.
Yeah, and I think that's something that I've noticed is that they've got 4 wide receivers out there on most plays. I'll finish my point after this. 1st and goal from the 4. Pickler lobs, intercepted, and Atlanta, the defense stings back. First interception on the season for Chris Henry.
And Henry taking points off the board. Had 5 interceptions last season. Gets his first one of season 17 here. And he's just reading Pickler's eyes the whole way. Knows right where that ball's going. Reaches up and gets it. Looking for Vin Kalia again. Pickler didn't get enough juice on the goose. And Chris Henry has his first INT of the season.
Well, Johnny Pickler threw 28 interceptions last season. And not the greatest start, as he's 1 touchdown, 1 interception so far today. There's Mitchell O'Brien, the fullback, rumbles forward for a couple of yards.
And that's all Mitchell O'Brien will usually do. 1 or 2 carries. Does not get a lot of volume, at least in that sense. They use him for blocking. 27 touches in all of season 16, Michael. So
and only 24 rushing yards. But he does get 5 on 1st down. Dynasty back in the gun. Throws to the corner out short. And that pass is caught, turning upfield for a 1st down. Out to the 35-yard line. There's Ryan Roosevelt, the rookie, the only wide receiver taken in the 1st round of this last SFL draft.
And Roosevelt wearing number 88. He wore number 17 when he played with Salt Lake City. Siege Falco has that number here in Atlanta. He had to switch. He went with number 88, getting his first career catch. Welcome to the league, Mr. Roosevelt.
7 touchdowns for Madison for Ottawa in the SFL, and that led that team. As Siege Falco right on cue picks up a short gain catch and gets rocked by Brandon Ewing, second down.
And Falco hanging on to the ball. Falco, 47 career touchdowns. That was good enough for 33rd all-time heading into season 17 here. And he has been a favorite target, if not the favorite target, of Bryant Dynasty. Led the team in catches last season.
Here's Hollywood, and he gets no love up the middle. Look out. There's a black wall of Knights coming at you. Loss of 1.
And that's Tony Roberto, the outside linebacker, coming in. Roberto, a very complete player on this defense, coming in his first season in London. And last year, 61 tackles, 5 TFLs, and 5 passes deflected. This is a guy they're expecting a lot out of this year, Tony Roberto.
3 seasons in St. Louis before landing in London for Roberto. Ooh. And that pass is tipped and caught. Another deflected catch for the Atlanta wide receiving unit. Whew. Don't make this a habit, please. It's tough to call up here in the booth, but that one was a nice pick off the turf.
And I thought that was intercepted. I thought Anthony Wayo had that. And then Roosevelt just yanked it out of his hands. I thought we had a pick. Turns out, just another first down for Atlanta.
Couple of lucky deflections going Atlanta's way early in the ball game. Here's a power set for the first time. It's going to be Hollywood. Look out. That one's blown up in the backfield and going nowhere. And it's Tony Roberto again.
Tony Roberto, he can stop the run. He can stop the pass. He makes a great farmer's omelet. Outstanding play by Roberto. We're just getting started here.
Farmer's omelet. That sounds good.
It does sound good, doesn't it?
Yeah. Just past lunchtime here on the east coast of the U.S. Dynasty under pressure steps up. Flag comes down. Pass caught by Chisholm out to the 30-yard line. He's finally wrestled down there by Blackman, but it looks like this one might be coming back for holding.
Yeah, I didn't see the call, but I did see Chisholm churning those legs when he caught that ball. I really thought he was going to break that. Dynasty stepping up here in the pocket under pressure. Chisholm has to go up and get it. Look at him keep moving those legs. Rain Rao trying to bring him down. Unfortunately, he held him up long enough for help to arrive.
I didn't see the penalty call, and it says 1st and 10 at the London 30 for Atlanta.
They pick up the
so
flag?
Perhaps they picked up the flag. That's the end of the first quarter, an exciting one at that. London 7, Atlanta 7. It's the opening weekend of season 17, and we'll be back after this. This is the SFL Sunday Spotlight, presented by APM Music. Back at Queensway in London, England, it's the Atlanta Swarm and the London Knights opening up the SFL's 17th season here on a beautiful Sunday evening in London. And once again, BDG Hollywood shouldered to the ground in the backfield, that time by the veteran William Davidson.
Davidson, his 7th year in London, had 19 TFLs last year, led the team, was 7th on the SFL leaderboards a season ago.
Now on 2nd and 14, they'll spread it out as the downhill running game has not been going well for Atlanta thus far on this drive. Dynasty into the soft zone coverage and a catch made, and close to a first down is Boo Chisholm. Excuse me, that is Ryan Roosevelt.
And Gagne, sorry, Michael. Gagne's the only linebacker here in this 6 DB set, and Gagne cannot get over fast enough. And Roosevelt just running a little 5 and in, making an easy catch, getting some free yards out of it.
That brings up 3rd and 1, and this is where you expect BDG Hollywood to make his money. Got plenty of people on the line in that 2 tight end set. It's going to be a pass to the near side, and Chisholm almost broke a tackle. It was all that Tanner Hendricks could do to drag Chisholm out of bounds, but it's still a first down inside the red zone for the Swarm.
And you can tell Chisholm got a little rest, got some R&R during the offseason. He's been dragging fools a couple times already this first quarter.
He is certainly one of the standout performers in a team full of them on Atlanta's roster. From the 12-yard line, Dynasty over the middle, caught at the 5, and motoring down to the 2 is where they'll spot the end of the run by Jamal Wooding.
And Wooding, I think, is really a weapon that could really enhance Atlanta's prospects this season. 6 feet, 6 inches tall. And a lot of his touchdowns last season, when we called Atlanta games, came in the red zone. And that is where all 6 feet, 6 inches of that frame will come heavily into play.
Yeah, Jamal Wooding is a problem, especially if a secondary you're trying to deal with the other receivers on this roster, but down goes Dynasty.
There's a little bad sportsmanship there, but, when you get in there, you got to celebrate while you can, while the cameras are still on you. And that is Tony Bigby, the backup defensive tackle. And he doesn't get on the field very much, but I'm glad he's having a good time while he's out there.
The offensive line just kind of went out for an early dinner here in London, left Dynasty unprotected. Now 3rd down and 8. Over the middle, towards the goal line, and a terrific defensive play. Casey Morgan had the end zone dead to rights, but Emmanuel Blackman came and punched the ball away at its 4th down.
Yeah, and I think Bryant Dynasty led him just a hair too much. You saw him slow up and try and wait on the football to get there, just long enough for the defense to arrive. And now it's 4th down.
First field goal attempt of the season for Sammy Steele. It'll be a relative chip shot, only about 26 yards. Snap is good, hold is good, kick is right down Main Street, and Atlanta takes a 10-7 lead. This is the 5th meeting all time between the Atlanta Swarm and the London Knights. London came into the league in Season 10, Atlanta in Season 8, and the Swarm have never lost to London. They're 4-0.
4-0, and looking pretty good at a bit at 5-0. And more importantly, Michael, getting points off the turnovers. Chris Henry had that INT. Atlanta drove it down the field. They didn't find the end zone, but they did manage to add 3 and take the lead.
Yeah, but I will say, in a Pickler spread offense, no lead is safe. We saw how fast London scored their first touchdown. Zip, zap, and they were in the end zone. Wouldn't put it past them to do it a couple of more times tonight.
No, I wouldn't either. And Pickler, the first overall pick back in, I believe, Season 15.
14 it was.
14, thank you.
Yeah.
Had an outstanding rookie season with St. Louis, and then, of course, went to Louisiana, and then found himself watching the last 2 weeks of the regular season. How often do you go from couch to field to couch?
Over the middle, and that might be a deflected catch for the London Knights, and I believe it is. Vin Calia dragging that one down in tight coverage.
And Calia, once again, cashing in on the Johnny Pickler deep ball, trucking a ref, and why not? He shouldn't have been standing there. But it's that corner route again.
Yeah, both teams going to the corner. in this first half. London likes the deep corners, and Dynasty and the Atlanta offense going shallow corner routes. But that was a fantastic catch by Kalia. Pickler stands in, has to get rid of it as he's nailed, and it's incomplete as Robert Merrill was out of bounds. 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, Atlanta bringing pressure there. Pickler, who had free reign, was able to step up in the pocket and throw it on these corner routes. Did not have the opportunity to do so there, going to the safety valve. Just a hair too late, took a little contact on his way to getting rid of the football.
Yeah, and if you're the offensive line, that's a play you don't want to give up too often, even though you didn't take a sack. Pickler, that was a big hit. You don't want your quarterback taking too many of those. That time, a quick release over the middle to Benji Matson finds 5 yards, and it'll be 3rd and 5.
Yeah, just to follow up what you said about contact, when you have 2 star guards, and Perrin Ibarra, the rookie, granted, and Butch Menner, who's a 3rd-year guard at this point, that is not something you should encounter too often. And look, the defense is going to get theirs every once in a while, but for the most part, you want to keep your quarterback's jersey clean.
Another 4 wide set, bunch to the right side near. 3-man rush, excellently picked up, and then Pickler overthrows Kalia. The SFL invades Houston August 6th to 8th to induct the 2021 Hall of Fame class, showcase live and in-person Week 3 action, and connect with the SFL community all around the world. Look for live camera feeds from the event on our Twitch channel all season long at twitch.tv/SimulationFL. And it is 4th down, first punt of the game. Bono Wilson on to attempt the punt for London, stands at his own 40. And that looks like it's going to be a good punt if it sits down. Inside the 5 and sliding into the end zone, just barely not connecting. And it'll be ball to Atlanta at the 20-yard line.
And that was a good-looking punt. I think London's kicking themselves on the special team side of that. Anything that drops like that and then gets a little backspin inside the 10, you've got to be able to down that.
So a little bit of a lucky break for Atlanta as they start about 20 yards ahead of where they probably should be. Dynasty in the gun facing a 3-man rush, comes short, almost throws a pick. He tried to go short to Wooding, and Jeff Gagne had his hands on it and knocked it down.
And Gagne, who will play the run and the pass with equal proficiency. And I think Dynasty could have picked a better spot there. Just a lot of traffic in trying to get that ball to Wooding.
2nd down and 10. After a wild first quarter, the defenses have started to pick it up here in the second. 4 wide, split receivers. Dynasty pumps once and gets sacked back at the 18-yard line. Look out, there's Selwyn Lane, the rookie, undrafted, first career sack for him.
Congratulations to Selwyn Lane, making his presence felt right there. A jolly good show from the rookie.
And now Dynasty facing a 3rd and 12, going to have to look long. From the gun, steps up, goes down. It looks like Dynasty kind of wanted to take off, and he was dragged to the ground by Cam Frosby. 2 straight sacks and a 3-and-out for the London defense.
And 2 straight sacks and 3 straight pressures. Selwyn Lane and Frosby, and don't forget about the pressure from Gagne on that pass to Jamal Wooding. And Dynasty just not having sufficient room to operate there, and Atlanta's going to give the ball back to London.
Yeah, it looked like Dynasty made his mind up just about a half-second too late. If he had gone and taken off a little bit earlier, he probably would have been in the clear. But the offensive line just barely couldn't hold for long enough, and London is going to get the ball back in Atlanta territory.
Going to be curious to see what Pickler does here, starting with a short field. We see it a lot of times in this league, Michael, where the red zone offenses tend to collapse. They don't know how to maximize playing on that short field. I wonder if Pickler will have a similar epiphany here.
Well, still no rushing attempts for Robert Merrill. We'll see if they go to him at least once on this drive. Pickler's going to go underneath. Again, a corner route to Kalia, and he's going to turn upfield and get a 1st down.
Once again, the corner is open. The numbers to the sidelines, plenty of fertile ground there for the London passing game. And Pickler, to his eternal credit, he's putting the ball right on the money. He's hitting his receivers right in the hands every time.
It seems that the Atlanta defenses just came out to protect the deep pass and given London stuff underneath. Here again underneath, and that time it's almost picked off. That might have been a little bit too aggressive by Pickler as Garrett Hudson knocked the ball away, the rookie from Birmingham.
Yeah, 42nd overall choice. And Birmingham did not have a lot of success in the SFL Minor League Season 3. And Hudson, very happy to be joining a big league club. And you know that he's going to want to do better than his anemic win total that he had in Birmingham just a half season ago.
Well, Hudson himself performed very well. 75 tackles, 8 for loss. Here's the first run of the game for Robert Merrill, and he gets 6 yards up the gut.
And this is what Merrill will do. Merrill's got a lot of versatility. And even if he doesn't run a great deal in this game, he is still going to have a contribution to the offense. He can catch the ball quite a bit.
Big third down here for Pickler and the rest of the London offense. Empty set. Pickler sets and fires, and a nice spin move by Benji Matson to get down inside the red zone. They'll spot him at the 12-yard line.
And Matson's inertia kept carrying him to the center of the field. If he was able to get back to the outside, I think he would have had a touchdown. And you can see, watch this. Whoa, made two guys miss at the same time.
How about that from the 6'6", 260-pound tight end? Looks like a ballerina out there.
It's beautiful.
In a similar position to where Atlanta was last time they were in the red zone, the Swarm did not convert, but the Knights do convert. First play to the back of the end zone, second touchdown for Vin Calia. And the Knights take the lead.
And Pickler had that ball on a rope. We've been talking about the corner routes. How about a post route here from Vin Calia? And this thing is just right on the money. Great cut. Nobody there. Moose Papano cannot come back to the baseline of the end zone in time. And Calia, in barely a quarter and a half of action, has his second touchdown of the day.
That's 2 times that Johnny Pickler has targeted Moose Papano on touchdown passes, so maybe he's seen something that we don't out there in the Atlanta secondary. Extra point up and good, and London takes the lead back. It's 14-10 with 2:38 to go in the second quarter. Visit the SFL League website at simulationfl.net for info on how to create a player, join our community, the league, and the teams that play in it, and a comprehensive history of the SFL. It's over 1,500 games and thousands of players who have hit the virtual field. The Simulation Football League, 17 seasons strong. Kick all the way, returned from the 5. And the rookie Roosevelt gets up to the 29. Pretty even game through a quarter and a half, Josh. It swung a little bit with Atlanta not being able to convert in the red zone and then London taking a short field advantage. But it looks like these two teams, while they play contrasting styles on offense, look pretty evenly matched early on.
Yeah, I would say so. I think the biggest difference so far is Atlanta's last possession where they had that 3 and out. London's front 4 came up huge. Let's see if they could do it again here.
And BDG Hollywood has not gotten any love here in the second quarter. He gets the ball again, and once again, only gains 2 yards up the middle. Not BDG Hollywood-like numbers, and Jeff Gagne is there again.
Gagne got there, and Hollywood was contacted just past the line of scrimmage, giving Gagne enough time to arrive and corral the Hall of Famer.
Looks like Jeff Gagne's sole purpose today is just to spy BDG. Dynasty, plenty of time to throw, and he hits Chisholm on a route straight down the middle of the field. And it was one man to beat for Chisholm, and the last man back was Tanner Hendricks, who saved a touchdown, but Atlanta is into London territory.
And it's a great ball by Dynasty. A little bit of traffic here, and you see Gagne converging. Gagne only ends up with a handful of ref, and Chisholm's got a little bit of open field. And if it wasn't for Tanner Hendricks, as you said, Michael, Atlanta's putting points on the board again.
This back judge has had a rough day so far. Let's cut him a little bit of slack. That's the second time he's been bowled over.
He's going to have to put some pads on.
Dynasty, here comes the blitz. Gets it out fast underneath to Siege Falco and picks up 5.
And Falco, just a nice little in route there. His third reception of the game, his fourth reception. And you want to get him a lot of touches. The trouble is...
Sorry, Josh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that, he's competing now with a great rookie in Roosevelt and also Chisholm and Wooding. You got to get him while you can.
Another float to the far side. Chisholm can't do much with that. And it is 3rd down and 3. If you missed Siege Falco's first catch of the game, you're going to want to go back and watch it again because it was so obscured and he caught it through so many bodies and it got after about 3 deflections that we didn't even think he caught the ball.
That's the only person that saw it was Cam.
Sure. Yeah. Our producer and commissioner, Cameron Irvine. That time Siege Falco can't come up with the play. And it's 4th down and 3, so the London defense holds again.
Just very impressive, and they're getting pressure on Dynasty. And he's not getting a great pocket to throw out of. And as you know, that'll make your job as quarterback much more difficult. But they did get ball down the field a little bit. They're in plus territory. And now Atlanta has a chance to put in a coffin punt.
We saw this work well for London as they eventually turned that field position into a touchdown. Fair catch called for. It isn't the best punt, but London will have the lowest starting field position of the game for them. They'll start at their own 13-yard line. Coming up on the APM Music halftime report, Cameron Irvine and Eric Vinson break down the first half between the Swarm and the Knights, update you on the action going on around the league, and deliver part 2 of the league's 2-part Season 17 preview. It's all coming up on the APM Music halftime report. You'll want to stick around for that season preview because they have some interesting takes on both of these teams. Nice pass from Pickler as the receiver was absolutely blanketed by Corey Mickens, but Mike St. Green still comes up with the catch.
And a lot of times when you're playing wide receiver, you're jockeying to get that inside release, to get closer to the center of the field. And contrastingly, London is working toward the outside of the field, playing for the outside release. And St. Green getting it done there yet again.
And that will bring us to the 2-minute warning here in the first half. We got a good one. London 14, Atlanta 10. We'll be back after this. This is the Simulation Football League presented by APM Music on FTF. 2 minutes to go here from Queensway in the first half. London Knights 14, Atlanta Swarm 10. I'm Michael Torello along with Josh Zirkle. Watching the Knights take on the Swarm. Pickler middle. Pickler's got St. Green and up close to midfield, up to the 44-yard line.
And Michael, that's a 5th catch for St. Green, and they've all been money. All of them have been for massive yards. They've been great routes. And Green has just been beating coverage. I don't know what Atlanta has been doing to cover him, but they need to do a little bit more of it, or perhaps something else altogether.
It's been an excellent showcase so far for Johnny Pickler in his first game in London. Remarkable consistency hitting his receivers down the field, and they go to this 3-bunch set with a single left again. Pickler 5-step drop, goes to the safety valve Merrill. A lot of work to do. Breaks 1 tackle, but can only get 3 yards. There is another SFL game going on right now on our Twitch channel. And Cameron Irvine's got an update from St. Louis and Tulsa. Go ahead, Cam.
Thank you, Torello. Eric, this is Geralt Winkler's day so far.
Yeah, his second interception of the ball game, deep in their own territory, and a tip drill interception there gives St. Louis the ball back, but they have done nothing with it. Tulsa now with the ball deep in St. Louis territory once again.
Thank you, Cam. Touchdown, London. As right when you least expect it, Mike St. Green strikes again. And it's a 2-score lead for the Knights.
Remember last season, Mike St. Green was doing the game breaks, and here he is doing it again, just in a different sense. This time on the field, there's a diving Moose Papano, and St. Green is off to the races. Look at him go.
Mike St. Green, I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, he has elite breakaway speed. He showed it right there. He took the catch on just a go route, one-on-one with the corner, and raced away for a London touchdown. And the Knights faithful may have some means to start celebrating here for the first time. This London organization has never made the playoffs. They've been close. They've lost on the last day of the season to not get in. They've gotten tiebreakers not go their way to not get in. But this lineup is an offensive juggernaut so far.
And I know we've only played not even a half of football here, but this offense looks great. Johnny Pickler has looked great. Atlanta is left reeling here at this point. And the defense for London has played very well also, especially their front four. And Dynasty is going to have to pull a rabbit out of a hat here and maybe get some points on the board.
Maybe look for something on special teams as well, but Ryan Roosevelt gets caught up behind his blockers and taken down at the 33-yard line. We mentioned at the top of the broadcast that there are 8 changes to this London Knights starting lineup. KT Delaney, a kicker, is now in Tulsa. Dustin Zeck, wide receiver, left for Las Vegas. Marquise Reed, the free safety, is now in Fort Worth. And starting quarterback last season, Angus McLean, retired and is now in the London front office. There's the spin move from BDG Hollywood to get past one. He picks up 5 yards, and with only 41 seconds to go in the first half, Atlanta calls their first timeout.
And Hollywood, the veteran, just trying to make something happen for his team. He knows the situation. He knows he could get out of bounds and save a timeout, but he is working hard to make something happen. He knows he's got to break something loose here for this Atlanta offense. And you could see maybe a tinge of panic in the play of the Swarm here by that run from BDG Hollywood.
Well, it would be nice for Atlanta to get something going into the half. Here's a swing pass for Hollywood. He's got the speed to break that, and he didn't even get out of bounds. He did pick up a fresh set of downs for Atlanta, but they're going to have to scramble and go into the up-tempo offense here. And in an offset I formation, that's not really where they like to be. Dynasty across the middle. That pass is caught into London territory at the 40-yard line. That was Jamal Wooding. They're not going to call a timeout.
Going to walk up to the line.
11 seconds left in the quarter, and it's caught by Wooding, and Wooding with a stiff arm down the sideline. Oh, what a play! Jamal Wooding, highlight reel touchdown, put that one in the top 10.
Just like they drew up the 2-minute drill in practice, right, Michael? They're walking up to the line. They're stuck in this offset I formation. And Dynasty, who has a second to throw it, throws a dime to Wooding in triple coverage. Wooding breaks a tackle, and then he's gone. Unbelievable.
That was a nasty stiff arm. It left Rain Rie on the turf, staring at the stars, while the star of the game right now raced away for the end zone. That was Jamal Wooding. And with this extra point, it could possibly be, it'd still be a 4-point game, but it is a much better outlook for Atlanta going into the half than it would have been down 21-10.
Yeah, going into the locker room, anytime you can get a score at the last minute or last 2 minutes, just adds that much more pep in your step as you step in for orange wedges and Gatorade and a chance to sit on your duff and wait for the second half.
And remember, Atlanta gets the ball to start the second half because they won the toss and deferred.
That's right.
And as my good friend, tight end for Mexico City and broadcast director Mike Daggs likes to say, tight ends matter, and we saw it in spades right there. 4 seconds left, so barring anything miraculous, this will be the last play of the half. Kickoff returned by Saren Storm, and there actually is 1 second to go, so Pickler will get one play to potentially throw a bomb towards the end zone if he wants.
And with the protection that London's getting, I think Pickler, knowing who he is and knowing what this team has done to bring him here, they might try and uncork one here, Michael.
Well, they're in the 4-wide set. Pickler under center. This will be the last play of the half, and they're just going to give it to Merrill and head to the locker room. That is the end of the first half. London 21, Atlanta 17. Exciting stuff here across the pond. That's the end of the second quarter. We'll be back after the break. This is the SFL on FTF, presented by APM Music.
Oh, Eric, wherefore art thou? There you are. Hey, welcome to the APM Music Halftime Report. I'm Cameron Irvine. He's Eric Vinson, and it is 21-17 at the half. Quite possibly, Eric, the most electrifying first half that we've had here in Week 1.
I got to agree. And I don't know. Again, it was one of those games we're not quite sure what we were going to expect from these two teams, right? Especially with Johnny 2K now becoming Johnny UK. And we have gotten an air raid attack unlike anything we've seen in the league in quite some time. It's been a very impressive half by both teams.
Just a couple of runs. Pickler mostly efficient. We'll see if that end zone interception comes back to bite him. But what a play by Jamal Wooding at the end of the first half. Top 10 worthy, easy. The stiff arm was talented enough, but to stay in bounds too, trickle down the sideline. And he's going into the end zone looking at that clock saying, do I need to step out of bounds? Am I going to make it? Right? And he makes it with 4 seconds to go.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those plays you're looking at and you're like, okay, I would have earned a timeout there. Now you're going to have, one play left after this one? And then Jamal Wooding's like, nah, it's okay. I got this. No worries.
We'll give you updates on St. Louis and Tulsa here in just a moment. But for now, let's revisit our season preview from Season 17. You and Mike St. Green sat down with me and gave out your thoughts to Season 17 predictions. And in part one, talking about a lot of Saturday teams, it wasn't that good. But it's week one. It's early. Let's see what you and Mike have to say on more topics around the SFL here at halftime. Welcome to part two of the SFL Season 17 preview, along with Mike St. Green, Eric Vinson. I'm Cameron Irvine. We'll start with Eric on these batch of questions. Mr. Vinson, which teams will make the playoffs who did not last season?
So I got 3 teams. I'm thinking the Portland Fleet, the Atlanta Swarm, and the London Knights. Portland, I've mentioned in the previous questions that we had on the last segment, I think it's their time. They're finally going to make the turn here and push themselves into the playoffs under rookie O.J. Bruin, the 6th overall pick coming out of the minors. I think that's a great choice, and I think he's finally going to be the step that they need to get themselves into the playoffs. The Atlanta Swarm, look, last season, it was just kind of a hiccup along the way. Some different things happened that aren't very Atlanta Swarm-esque. Still got plenty of returning players on that squad there that have been consistently hitting the playoffs. So I think Atlanta will bounce back easily this season. And then, again, the London Knights, with the free agent acquisitions that they've made, Anthony Wyo, Johnny Pickler, Mike St. Green, it's one of those things that I think London is gearing up to make a playoff push and to win right now. Now, secret dark horse, be on the lookout for the DC Dragons.
And what a momentous occasion it would be for London to make it after all these years. They've scrapped, they've clawed, they've been eliminated on tiebreakers. They've lost the playoff spots in the last week of the season. They've been right there to try to make it happen. Mike, what do you think? Who's going to make the playoffs that did not last season?
First of all, Cam, Eric is a very smart man. His list is exactly the same as my list as the teams I think that will make the playoffs this season that did not make the playoffs last season. But if 3 teams make the playoffs, 3 teams that made it last season are not going to make the playoffs this season. Since Eric did a great job of covering who's going to make it, and I totally agree with him, I'm going to give you the 3 teams, and I may make a few enemies that will not make the playoffs this season.
He'll be at the convention, folks. You can just talk to him then.
The 3 teams that I think that possibly these 3 teams that we just mentioned are going to replace are going to be Los Angeles, St. Louis, and Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville's streak of 8-9 seasons in a row is going to end. Their retool, I think, turned into an out-and-out rebuild. And it's going to be interesting to see how this season plays out for them. I know they replaced Christian Christensen with, the great Marcus Dunhill, but he had built-in regression because of his 2 seasons away, and we're going to see how long it takes for him to come up to speed. And St. Louis, traditionally hasn't been a playoff team, but even though they did make it last season, can they continue that momentum into season 17? That remains to be seen. And LA, they're changing up a little bit also, Cam. They went from a 3 wide receiver set. They're going to a 2 tight end set. They're changing things up a little bit. Maybe they want to go to a power running game. They did limp into the playoffs a little bit last season. And, but can they bounce back and make it again this season? I'm not 100% sure on that. So we'll see what they can do going into this season, switching things up a little bit. Like St. Louis is the one team in that group that's not in, much of an adjustment, because this is the first time in many seasons that they returned a quarterback 2 seasons in a row. But but like I said, if 3 teams enter, some 3 teams have to leave, and that's who the 3 teams I think will be in that category.
So yes or no answer, Mike. Do the defending champs, Denver, they make the playoffs in a rebuild year?
Wow.
Yes or no?
No elaboration. Yes.
Eric?
No.
All right, there you go. Back to you, Eric. Veterans on new teams who you believe will have their best season yet.
Well, you touched on him a little bit there, Mike. I'm going to shift over to Marcus Dunhill. He's coming back and going to be playing in some new threads in the Simulation Football League, some colors we haven't seen him in, playing for the Jacksonville Kings down in Dirty Duval. But, I think you hit the nail on the head there with him being away for the past few seasons. He has hit that regression a little bit. It's not going to be the same MVP that we've seen, championship game MVP from seasons past. So it's going to be intriguing to see how he fits into Jacksonville with his new team and how he, is able to bounce back from the regression there with the Kings. And then the other one is your new QB1, Mr. Johnny Pickler, just because of, the circumstances he brings to every team that he decides to don a helmet for. The man is all about the drama. I am all for it. I love it every time. And he just brings the spotlight to him everywhere that he goes. So, I touched on it before. I think London might hit the playoffs finally this season. And for your sake, I hope so, my friend.
Mike, back.
No one's ever accused Eric of being wrong, and I hear Johnny has some incredible weapons to throw to over there in London to help.
I've heard that.
So yeah, that, I kind of heard that along the way as well.
Mike, veterans other than Mike St. Green, who will have their best season yet. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is going to be a great category. This is a great thing to talk about. Jeff Duffy moving over from Queen, and has a great career over in Queen City, and you may ask, how can he, have his best season ever, in Fort Worth, where he ended up landing. He's going to be a part of a great defense already, a great secondary, great linebacking core, and a great defensive line already. So he may be free to, roam, defensive backfields and give quarterbacks, more trouble than he's ever done and throughout his great career thus far. So I'm looking for him to have a great season over there in Fort Worth and add to that, very stingy defense. And sky's the limit over there for Fort Worth and for Jeff Duffy. Let's see if he can surpass that 20-plus sack mark this season with them. And my other one is another Queen City guy, Sean Moore, going over to Arizona to replace the great B.J. Lovelace, who moved over to Queen City. Sean Moore is going to, we all know, the Eddie Gage, the defensive guru, what kind of position is Eddie going to put Sean Moore in to make plays for that great defense over there? We know B.J. Lovelace's great career. He's top, B.J.'s top in the tackles in the history of the SFL. So can Sean go in there, step in B.J.'s shoes and in Eddie's defense and become a great player over there with Arizona?
It's amazing the 2 spots that those players landed in. Okay, last question, Eric. Your big surprise, your bold prediction for season 17 is?
I'm going to twist it up from my notes that I had sent you.
Oh.
Denver is not going to make the playoffs. Bold prediction.
Right.
Just the way that everything is looking with the rebuild and everything else, too many talented guys that have retired and hung up the cleats. I don't see Denver doing it, especially with all these very talented teams coming in this season right on their heels.
All right, Mike, time to go bolder then. What's your biggest surprise or bold prediction?
My bold prediction is going to be one of the teams that Eric mentioned is going to make the playoffs this season. And it's going to be that Atlanta makes it to the season 17 championship game. And my reason for saying that is if you look back to the championship season for Atlanta in season 14, these guys, prolific offense. Marcus Dunhill had come into his own at that particular time, won the MVP. This guy had weapons all over the field, Boo Chisholms, Siege Falco. I think Dave Axel was also on that team. And then you add in BDG Hollywood and Jamal Wooding, even though in that championship game, Jamal got injured. I want to say maybe 2 or 3 plays into that game. But that season in particular, that was a monster of an offense for defenses to have to game plan for. So now you fast forward to season 17. After season 16, these guys went to a 2 tight end set. It just didn't fit what I felt like Atlanta should be or what they like to do. So what did they do? They went out and got a third wide receiver in this draft in Ryan Roosevelt. The guy's like 6'4", 220, something like that. I think his speed is already maxed out. So they're going to provide Brian Dynasty, who's going into his 3rd season, with all the weapons that he needs. They still have Boo. They still have Siege. They, BDG, as well as Wooding. So, I just think that offense is going to be tough to game plan for. And I think we're going to see these guys go back to their form that they had in season 14.
Roosevelt could be a difference maker. He was awesome this season in the minors. You can watch the SFL all season long on Next Level Sports for the fans, FTF Twitch, and SFL Twitch. And, of course, our SFL YouTube channel will have all the content archived for you to check out anytime. For Mike, Eric, I'm Cam. This has been your Season 17 preview. And let's get back to action. All right, so a lot on the line there. Atlanta being predicted to go to the championship game. And, of course, Mike St. Green a little conflicted because he's playing today against them. But 21-17 London Pickler, 19-24, 292 in the first half. He's on his way to some career numbers. How about St. Louis and Tulsa before we get back to action from the United Kingdom? 10-7, St. Louis has the lead. JQ has been turnover happy, and Tulsa's only gotten Sansa the ball twice in the ground game. Your thoughts on the first half over there?
Yeah, Tulsa's got to retool and make some adjustments here. St. Louis has gotten 3 different turnovers, 3 different interceptions by JQ, and they just haven't done anything with it, which is kind of surprising. But you hit the nail on the head. I mean, you've got a premier back like Sansa Robinson, and you are not giving him the football at all. And then on top of that, you're turning the football over by not giving him the football on the ground. So I think it'll have to be something that Tulsa makes an adjustment as they hit the 2-minute warning there over in Oklahoma.
Gabriel Manning got the touchdown for Tulsa. That game is 10-7. 21-17 here. We'll be back for the second half after this.
Way in London, England, it's the London Knights and the Atlanta Swarm getting us back to action for the second half. 21-17 our score. I'm Michael Trujillo. Alongside me is Josh Zirkle in the broadcast booth, along with Shan Varner and Delaney Nash on stats. And a nice return to the 36-yard line by Ryan Roosevelt as the Swarm will start with the football to begin the third quarter, and I'm still catching my breath, Josh, after the insanity of the first half that we saw in this football game.
Yeah, both quarterbacks combined for over 500 passing yards. I can only hope that the second half is going to be at least as good as the first half. To be determined.
We'll see if there will be any more running. Not on this play. It's going to be a swing pass out to BG Hollywood. Gets a block and gets a first down and dragged down on the back end.
And this is what great players do. Isn't it, Michael? Great players.
It is.
Knows he needs to make a big play here. Gets the ball, manages to turn up field, gets a block, boom, right there. Yeah, could use another one, number 69 there. Thinking about that early dinner you promised him in the first half.
Yeah, but that was a great block by Tommy Williams coming over to spring Hollywood for the first down. Barely into London territory at the 49. There's Boo Chisholm on a short little pass out there for 6 yards. And that's something you lauded both teams really of doing well in the first half, is getting chunk plays on first down.
Yeah, and they're using the entire field, sideline to sideline, whether it's the edge of the field like we just saw there with Chisholm, going in between the hash marks, playing inside the numbers. I mean, no segment of this turf is safe. Both quarterbacks are going to drop balls anywhere they can.
It was a sling fest in the first half, and it continues into the second, as leaping over the defender to make the grab is Boo Chisholm, as he absolutely styles on Tanner Hendricks.
Yeah, you think Atlanta had a game plan coming out of the locker room here. Another big catch for Chisholm right there on the corner route, playing up against Tanner Hendricks. And Chisholm, I was talking about that outside release earlier, and that's what I mean. The ball is right in front of Chisholm, so either he's going to catch it or nobody is. And as it stands right now, Chisholm is catching a lot of those.
What you want for Dynasty. Only one turnover in the game so far, as BG Hollywood spins out of a tackle at the line of scrimmage and bursts forward for 5 yards. With that run for Hollywood, that makes it 10 runs combined between both teams in the entire game.
It is astounding that we have seen so little between both of these running backs, Robert Merrill and Hollywood both. These are guys that like to touch the football. They haven't touched it much today.
Short pass over the middle finds Falco, close to a first down, won't get there. I talked to you during the break, Josh, and said this game kind of reminds me of arena football, where nobody really runs, and it's a lot of long passes and a lot of scoring.
Yeah, and I love arena football for that reason, among many others, usually because they have cheap beer at those events as well. And you go down there with a couple of friends and just get rowdy with the other 75 people sitting in the arena.
Offset eye, here's a fullback dive, Mitchell O'Brien. How about that? Give it to the fullback, and he picks up a first down.
That's his second carry of the game. This is ridiculous volume. He's on pace to blow away his 27 touches from season 16. And when all else fails, go to Mitchell O'Brien.
Well, right now he's on pace for 24.
We still have half a football left.
That's true. We'll see if O'Brien gets some more touches here. One-on-one coverage knocked away. Excellent corner play that time as Tanner Hendricks gets his revenge on Boo Chisholm.
Yeah, they're still going to Chisholm, and this is a really nice route, but Hendricks manages to slip underneath, gets that right hand up there as he's fading away. That's a difficult play to make. And Hendricks makes it look pretty simple. A seventh-year quarterback will do that for you.
Atlanta trying to retake the lead. It looked pretty bleak for the Swarm coming down towards the end of the first half. They were down 21-10. And then in the dying embers of the half, Jamal Wooding scampered away, put a defender in the ground with a stiff arm and raced in for a touchdown. Short pass out to Falco. He's wrapped up and dropped. Tanner Hendricks, who is everywhere on this drive, makes the stop, but it's 3rd and 5.
And you were talking about Jamal Wooding, and he had the entire right half of the field all to himself, and you have to keep an eye on him down here in the red zone because this is where he can work his magic. You mentioned the catch and run at the end of the first half, but this is where he sets up his office inside the 20-yard line. You have to keep an eye on Jamal Wooding.
One of the most athletic tight ends you'll find, 6'6", 255 for Jamal Wooding. Dynasty, short over the middle. Oh, no! Couldn't find his footing that time was Boo Chisholm, and he ends up going backwards. And it's 4th down and 3, and Atlanta looks like they're going to have to settle for a field goal.
We were talking about how great Jamal Wooding was, and he was not on the field there. They went with 20 personnel, 2 running backs, no tight ends. They wanted to give Ryan Roosevelt a look at some red zone looks, I guess, and then made the decision to throw it underneath to Chisholm. And Chisholm's got to beat the defense to get across the line and couldn't do it there.
This is the second relative cheap shot for Sammy Steele, and he will put it up and through from 22 yards. It's a 1-point London lead, but certainly not the result that Atlanta wanted. A brilliant drive up until that point, but just couldn't convert on the back end.
No, that's true, but you do come away with points on the board. You get a little momentum. You had a big drive there. BDG Hollywood chipping in early. Boo Chisholm with an outstanding drive. A couple of catches on that drive as well. Atlanta looking really sharp here. It's a 1-point game. There's still a ton of football left here, Michael. No worrying to sweat about 1 point here.
Especially if you're just tuning in, you're about to see the man, the myth, the legend, Johnny Pickler playing his first game for London after 2 seasons in Louisiana and a season in St. Louis. And he was slinging the ball all over the place in the first half.
He sure was. 293 passing yards in the first half. I looked, his best game last season, he threw for 409 yards. He's on pace to obliterate that today.
We'll see if the Atlanta defense gives him a little bit of a different look. They come out at a 2-3 here. Only 3-man rush, and Pickler has to get the ball away, and it's smashed into his face by Williams.
Joshua Williams had 7 sacks last year. Coming up with a big pressure there. And Pickler held that ball just a second too long. Looked like he was going to the safety valve with Merrill. Just couldn't get rid of it in time. Joshua Williams. In Atlanta, that front four knows they've got to get pressure on Pickler if they want to overtake London in this game.
Now is only a 3-man rush. Excellent job by Joshua Williams to get back there and pressure Pickler. Here's 2nd and 10. Pickler to the far sideline, caught. Look out here, Saren Storm. Haven't seen him much in this game, but he scampers away down the sideline for a big first down for London.
Yeah, it's Saren Storm with a nice route here, and look at the block from Kalia. That really spring storm there. And he was on his way to getting massive yardage, but that block from Kalia doing the dirty work. Kalia with 2 touchdowns already in this game, trying to get his buddy some as well. The Saren Storm turns upfield.
Barely into Atlanta territory at the 47 now for London. They wear the all-black trimmed in gold and burgundy tonight. Atlanta in the sky blue helmets, white jerseys, silver pants, sky blue and green trim. Lob over the top from Pickler!
Ooh.
And Mike St. Green took a shot but hung on to the football. Oh, excuse me, that's Kalia. Took a shot but hung on to the football.
And I'm amazed that Kalia was able to come down with this, not only because of how high it was, because of the shot that he takes right there, right in the back from Moose Papineau. And Kalia making an outstanding catch. Get his team a fresh set of downs.
And Pickler's been targeting Papineau all game. He was the defender on the 2 touchdowns that Kalia caught. And he's targeted there for a big game. Pickler to the far side. There's Mike St. Green. Takes 2-3 defenders out of the play with a double spin move and picks up a fresh set of downs.
We've talked about the route running of Mike St. Green. We've talked about his top end speed. But look at the agility. Look at the spin cycle of this. 2-3 in a row, making defenders fly around all over the place. Who is this Mike St. Green? That was outstanding.
Shades of BDG Hollywood right there from Mike St. Green. Pickler now back in the red zone. Threw a pick once. He won't do it this time. This time he hits the tight end, Benji Matson, and it's going to be 1st and goal. It's like a hot knife through butter right now for the London offense.
And that is the most routine-looking one-handed catch from a tight end I think I'll ever see. Benji Madsen just corralled that ball in his giant paw and turned upfield to get his team a 1st and goal.
Bunch formation left, single right. Pickler flanked by Merrill in the backfield, 4 down linemen for the Swarm. Here they come. Pickler gets the pass away, and it's caught by St. Green, and he can't quite make it to the pylon. It's going to be 2nd and goal from the 1-yard line.
And that is probably the first ball today, Michael, that we've seen from Johnny Pickler that was not spectacular. You threw the ball a little too much behind St. Green. St. Green had to backtrack to come and get it. And by then, the defense was on him. That could have been a touchdown if Pickler had thrown a slightly better ball.
They're going to go for 4 wide receivers from the 1-yard line, and Pickler finds a wide open receiver in Robert Merrill, who walks in for the touchdown.
And when you are trying to cover Saren Storm and Mike St. Green and Matson and Vincalia, that leaves it Robert Merrill right there. Nothing but green grass all around him. That's about as simple as a touchdown as London will see all season. Robert Merrill getting the job done through the air, as he's done so many times in previous seasons.
I will say this with the utmost respect to the London coaching staff. That was the best drive from a London Knights team that I have ever seen in my years covering the Simulation Football League.
And I've not been around quite as long as you have, Michael, but I would have to agree that was just outstanding. Atlanta left scrambling there. We mentioned earlier the contact for Joshua Williams early in that drive. And Williams and company realized that they are going to have to get Pickler on his back if they want to get a chance to overtake London in this game. This London offense is red hot.
And that drive started with an almost sack, and the ball was batted back in Pickler's face by Joshua Williams. Pickler said, "No thanks, I'll just drive down the field and score." A pretty simple touchdown for London. Atlanta now back down by 8. And Roosevelt's up to the 30-yard line. We got a game break for you. St. Louis and Tulsa. What's happening, Cam?
Thank you, Torillo and Eric. Just like Andy Hamilton said on the broadcast, the cherry on top for St. Louis.
They finally do something with the turnover. Bill Cherry, the big-time fullback, gets the hand up through the line, rumbling, bumbling, stumbling into the end zone. 10-point advantage for the Gladiators.
4 picks for JQ today. Back to Torillo and Zirkle in the United Kingdom.
Thanks, Cam. Thanks, Eric. While we were away, Cam Frosby up the middle. Look out!
Frosby, the snowman, getting penetration on that offensive line. Nice little rip technique there with the right arm. Getting right into Bryant Dynasty. Taking him down. Great start to the drive for London. Not so great for Atlanta.
And Cam Frosby, this is his first season in London. Former 2 seasons played in Sioux Falls. And you know they love up and tumble defense. This time Dynasty gets out of a sack. And the ball is picked off the turf. What an amazing play, both by the quarterback Dynasty and the receiver Boot Chisholm. That was not a very well-thrown ball, and Chisholm had to kind of come back for it and ended up taking it off his shoelaces.
Well, you can understand why it wasn't so well thrown. He's thrown William Davidson off of his back, somehow recomposed himself, and got the ball down the field. Chisholm with that amazing catch radius, making an outstanding grab, as you said, almost off the turf. And somehow, Atlanta got a first down out of that.
William Davidson at 6'2", 290. That's a tough, lot of weight to shake off there. Dynasty this time can't get away. And that is Davidson coming right back and putting Dynasty on the ground, 2nd and 13.
Yeah, we've talked so much about Johnny Pickler, but this London front 4 is really what's carrying the day right now. And you can score all the points in the world, but if you can't stop the other team, it's all for naught. And this London front 4 has been in Bryant Dynasty's face almost unceasingly on this drive.
We're going to try and run out of it with Hollywood, and he gets 2 yards. It's going to be 3rd and 11. And the most impressive part to me about this London defensive front is that they haven't brought a lot of blitz packages. It's mostly just been Selwyn Lane, William Davidson, Cam Frosby, and Chad Rowland up front just going to work.
And when you can do that, guys like Gagne, Tony Roberto, you free them up on pass coverage, or maybe even sneak them in on a blitz later in the drive.
Another four-man rush, this time picked up, but it's going to be fourth down as the pass was caught by Jamal Wooding, but he couldn't get past the man of the hour on the London defense. Tanner Hendricks said it's fourth down.
And just very impressed with the London defense in general. There did not seem to be any weak links. You mentioned all the newcomers to this London team, Michael. 5 of them on the defensive side, including the rookie Selwyn Lane. And this is just operating like a well-oiled machine right now.
Punt away from Chris Smith. Hold on. Never mind. That's batted into the end zone. London coming out to the 20. Another chance for a big special teams play goes begging. But Shan Varner, who's doing defensive stats for us today, tells me that is the 5th sack for London on the day, that last one that was grabbed by Davidson.
Just magnificent. That doesn't even include all the other pressures that they've had on Byron Dynasty. Certainly does not include William Davidson getting flipped off the back of Bryant Dynasty like it's a cheap coat.
Pickler back on offense and looking to make the Atlanta defense pay, but that time Vin Calia not on the same page as his quarterback, and it's 2nd down.
And Calia knows he should have had that one, kicking himself there for all the world to see. And Pickler did a nice job of just getting that ball loose. There was a little bit of pressure there. Billy Ray Valentine coming in hard on the right side of that defensive front, but Pickler did not give him time to approach. He just did his drop and just released the football. Very impressive to see.
Pickler impressive mechanically today and has 28 points to show for it. 3 wide this time. 4-man rush and then swatted out of the air by Garrett Hudson. I'll tell you what, he's impressed today, even though the Atlanta secondary has gotten burned. The rookie's made a couple of big plays at outside linebacker.
Yeah, he really has. And when you can get your outside linebacker into pass coverage like that and taking away passing routes for wide receivers like Mike St. Green, who I think was the intended receiver there, you're going to have yourself a great defense. And he's only going to get better as the season goes on.
Now third and 10. This has been the formation that London has had the most success with, and Mike St. Green can't make the defense miss that time. Jack Napier runs him down, and it's a 3-and-out for London, the first 3-and-out they've had in the ball game.
I think that's the first time we've called Napier's name tonight. A 5th-year cornerback. Came over last season from Mexico City. 68 tackles, 4 interceptions. Doing a nice job of cutting Mike St. Green off from the marker there. And London's going to punt it away.
And Jack Napier is the only player on this team that played on another major league team last season, but he does have Mexico City roots. Started his career with Atlanta back in season 13 and 14, then 2 seasons in Mexico City, and now he's back in the ATL. The game has slowed down a little bit with 2 punts back-to-back. Atlanta back on the ball now, so we get a chance to step back and just sort of take stock here. And we see an I formation for the first time out of Atlanta. Dynasty steps up in the pocket. Plenty of time to throw a laser down the field. And there's the rookie Roosevelt. He waited until the correct moment, and Roosevelt makes the defense pay.
And you see the 2 running backs here in the backfield, Michael. They did that to give Dynasty extra protection. And Roosevelt, the rookie, who was so great with Salt Lake City, can run any route on the tree, just runs a 9 straight down the field, comes up with a huge catch. The first of many we're going to see from Ryan Roosevelt.
The only wide receiver taken to the first round of this last SFL draft, had 7 touchdowns in the minor leagues last season playing for Ottawa. Underneath to Chisholm. It takes 2 black-clad London defenders to knock him out of bounds. 51 seconds to go in the third. Where does the time go, Josh? It feels like we were just at halftime.
I have no idea. We're just having such a good time over here. It's my understanding that time does fly when you're having fun. And time flying for Boo Chisholm right now. Michael, that's his 12th catch of the game.
He is WR1 on this team for certain. Here's another fullback handoff. Mitchell O'Brien. Oh, he just barely didn't get the first down. It looked to me up here like he might have had it, but he was just stopped short by Gagne.
And he had the second effort and the third effort, and I thought the third effort was going to get it done. And he kept churning those legs, chopping the feet, trying to get the defender to succumb, but it did not happen. You look and see how close they are here on 3rd and inches.
The ball sitting almost over the line to gain. BDG breaks a tackle, breaks 2 tackles, touchdown Atlanta. BDG is back, baby.
Hollywood with an outstanding run, and once again you see them having to plow through the vigor of those London defenders. Hollywood, just an inspired run here, gets the handoff, 1 defender, A second defender there, and then finally reaches the end zone. Tremendous second effort there from the Hall of Famer BDG Hollywood.
Yeah, he said, goodbye, Tony Roberto. Goodbye, Rain Rie. I've got reservations for 6. And they're going to go for 2 to try and tie the game. High snap for Dynasty. He moves to his left. He throws as he's getting tackled, and the ball sails out of the reach of Jamal Wooding, and it's still a 2-point game.
I like the decision to go for 2 there, Torillo. I'm not sure I like the play call. And Dynasty scrambling away from his protection.
The play got blown up a little bit. Yeah, the play got blown up a little bit by the defensive front of London. But I like the decision because you still got the entire fourth quarter to make up those 2 points, even if you don't get it.
No, I totally agree. And Tony Roberto there, by the way, playing outstanding pass coverage on the beast, Jamal Wooding. And Wooding would have needed a better ball to convert that 2-pointer. But give credit to Roberto for just shutting down what would have been, at that point, Bryant Dynasty's only option.
Well, with the amount of scrambling Bryant Dynasty has had to do today because of the defensive pressure from London, I almost half expected him to hit that pass on the run like he did after he shook off the tackle from Davidson earlier in the quarter.
And that is just yet another instance of this London front 4 getting in the face of Bryant Dynasty and just making his afternoon as miserable as possible. And give credit to this Atlanta offense that has managed 26 points. It's been a tough road to hoe for them at this point.
Their average points scored last year was 26.7, so they're right on where they were last year. Pickler going long, looking for empty grass. Vin Cali was out there, but it wasn't really close to him. Second down.
No, it wasn't. And we got a lot of newcomers on this team with Pickler and Mike St. Green. If Cali has been here all 4 years, and Pickler just walked in the door several weeks ago, and I wonder if there's a miscommunication there between quarterback and receiver.
Well, because of the incomplete pass, we got 1 second left in the third. This will be the final play. Three-man rush, Pickler middle. Pickler almost picked off. Moose Papineau just about got his revenge because he has been victimized all day by Pickler, and he finally knocks that one away from Calia. And that is the end of the third quarter. We've got a great one here. London 28, Atlanta 26. We'll take a break and be right back. You're watching the SFL Sunday Spotlight presented by APM Music on For the Fans. Four's up. Fourth quarter on tap between Atlanta and London. It's a 2-point game. The Knights have the ball at home here in Queensway. 11 minutes to go. And it's anyone's game here on the opening week of the SFL 17th season. Johnny Pickler going long and has a connection to Saren Storm.
An outstanding catch. Once again, Saren Storm taking some punishment on his way to catching that football. And Atlanta ran the twister, and that almost got home. I think that was Joshua Williams coming around the left side. But Pickler did give him a chance to get home. The most impressive thing about Pickler, and he's putting all these balls on the money, but he is just running the offense so efficiently. There's no wasted time. Only once or twice has he held the ball a little too long or delivered a ball slightly off target. You can't, 28-26 kind of speaks for itself, but you can't say enough about the debut game Johnny Pickler's having right now with London.
Pickler back in the shotgun again, takes a low snap. He has time to get the ball out there. Callia's got it. Callia's running free, and Papineau makes a tackle at the 10-yard line to save a touchdown.
And once again, the catch radius of these outstanding receivers coming into play. Pickler putting the ball where only their guys could get it. Another corner route, and Callia just goes up and grabs it, has the inside position on Jay Miraculous, able to turn upfield, and Papineau able to pop it right in the face before he's able to get in the end zone.
It's gut check time for the Atlanta defense, because Pickler has shown today that anytime he gets the ball in his hands, things are going to happen, and he hands it off to Robert Merrill. Haven't seen a lot of him as a rusher today. That's only his third carry, but he does get 5 yards, second down and goal at the 5.
His third carry, but his 6th touch, which would put him just below Callia in terms of total touches during the game. And it's nice to see London mix it up a little bit here in the red zone.
And Merrill has been excellent. He's caught a touchdown from a similar position in the third quarter. Pickler goes short, and that's Merrill looking for his second touchdown of the day. He won't get much. He'll get a yard on forward progress and not a lot else. Third down.
Now a third down here, and Atlanta understanding that they could give the ball to just about anybody at this point. This is a gut check time for London here as well. They've got Atlanta on the ropes. Touchdown here would go a big step toward putting them away.
Pickler, plenty of time. He threw into double coverage, and it's knocked away. It's Papineau again, 4th and goal.
And this field goal is going to keep Atlanta in it. It's going to be a 5-point game. And if you're Johnny Pickler and you're London, you got to think that is a missed opportunity there. Obviously showing some favoritism to Callia, who has those 2 receiving touchdowns in the first half. But lead or no lead, that's a missed opportunity for the Knights.
It's going to be a chip shot field goal for Peter McLongfellow. Only going to be about a 21-yarder. So basically an extra point. Snap is good, hold is good, kick is good. Atlanta 31, London 26, and Atlanta's defense holds in the red zone for what seems like only the second time today. They had that interception in the first quarter.
Yeah, that's right. They've just been incredibly proficient. Other than the INT and then the punt right after that. And they did have one punt here in the second half before the field goal. Been a very efficient day for the London offense.
On the return, here's Roosevelt. Can't get away from the London special teams unit, and Cameron Irvine has got a game break for us with all the SFL news that's fit to print. Cameron Irvine, go ahead.
Thank you, Terrell. Turnovers catching up with Tulsa, St. Louis in. Eric?
And as they say in golf, this is a birdie with big wings. Eagle Mondavi is going to make his way wide open into the center of the end zone. St. Louis up by 14, but Tulsa is driving. They're close to the red zone with about 8 to go in the final frame.
We'll keep you updated. Back to Mike.
For the second time after a game break, we've got a big play. BDG Hollywood finally gets a run that he can be proud of to the outside and scampers into London territory.
And look at the great blocking downfield at Hollywood. Just running east to west and then turns north. Getting a great run there. And that's exactly what Atlanta needed at this point. And Hollywood delivering once again. a fresh dose of hope to this Atlanta offense.
They're only down 5, still just 8.5 minutes to go. I formation. Dynasty back to pass. Here comes the blitz. The ball gets thrown, and it's hot. Oh, wow. The circus catches keep on coming. This time, Boo Chisholm gets one.
All right, I'm actually going to watch the replay here. And Chisholm, who's come up with some ridiculous catches in double coverage here. Down comes the ball. And that's very clearly a catch.
Yeah.
Didn't have nearly the drama of that first quarter catch. That's just Boo Chisholm burning the defense. And a well-placed ball by Brian Dynasty in the face of the London blitz, no less.
Once again, the I formation does its job. This time, it's a pass into the flat for BDG, and the spin move takes both defenders out of the play. Mike St. Green, you can do it. I can do it better. I was the originator of the spin move. BDG, touchdown number 2.
Well, that's real bad. Making 2 defenders miss just like that, and that is one of the highlights for week 1, if not the highlight. Top plays, here we come.
There have been so many top play candidates in this game. The deflection pass for Falco in the first quarter. Bryant Dynasty shaking off Davidson. You know, the long touchdown passes from Pickler to Callie and St. Green. The Jamal Wooding stiff arm from God. And almost botched the extra point, but it is up and good. A 2-point lead for Atlanta, and this is the Swarm's first lead of the ball game.
And how about BDG Hollywood putting on the big boy pants? Touchdowns on back-to-back drives. The rushing touchdown in the previous drive. And then the spin move. Dynasty making that huge throw. And Boo Chisholm coming up with an outstanding catch. Atlanta has answered the bell here. London delivering all they can handle. And Atlanta doing all they can to get out of the UK with a win.
Double spin move by Callie. Can't get away. We go back to Tulsa and Cam and Eric. How can you top that?
Let's see if we can get you another big play, Torillo. Here's Sanzo.
Sanzo finally getting a carry, goes right up the middle and lowers the shoulder into the end zone. Tulsa was driving. Tulsa completed it. They're down by 7 with just about 7 to go.
The action is intense around the league right now. Back to Torillo and Zirkle in the UK.
Pickler floats it. Oh, St. Green, a case of the drop season. He had space to run.
He sure did. And we saw that drop by Kalia on the last drive that ultimately led to a field goal for London. And now St. Green dropping one as well. This is not what you need to do. London doesn't find themselves in this position very often. And St. Green's got to come up with that catch.
Something I want to touch on from the last drive. That receiving touchdown by BDG Hollywood was number 28 of his career. It ties him for number 1 all-time with Pete Bruschi for receiving touchdowns by a running back, and Pickler's going long again, and this time it's caught in tight coverage.
And that was an absolute rope to Kalia, who's not going to drop that one. Another outstanding catch on the corner route. And Pickler looking to nobody in his vicinity, delivering a strong ball. And Kalia beats Jay Miraculous with that outside release. And Kalia come up with a huge play to get his team in plus territory.
That was arguably the tougher throw for Pickler to make because Mike St. Green was free underneath. Pickler, 3-step drop, now tries a slant, and it's knocked away.
And Pickler trying to mix it up a little bit, going underneath here, trying to take what the defense is giving him. They are down 2 points, but you have 7 minutes here. You want to use as much of that time as you possibly can to lessen Atlanta's chances of scoring on the way back.
That last ball was knocked away by Cree Higgins, the other outside linebacker who we haven't really talked about yet tonight. 49 tackles a season to go for Higgins. Pickler takes the ball at his chest, pumps once, and almost has that one intercepted as he was looking for St. Green. Corey Mickens knocks it down, and it's 3rd and 10.
And Mickens, a backup DB. We've called his name a couple times already. And Atlanta, if they could continue to rush with 4 defenders, they're going to be counting on players like Mickens to come up with big plays like that. And Mickens answers the bell there. Pass deflected.
London still only down by 2, could possibly take the lead if they get it a field goal range. Facing a 3rd and 10, Pickler launches it, and this time it's picked up by the defense, secured by Jay Miraculous. His first interception of the season, and Atlanta takes the wind out of the London sails.
And it could not have come at a better time for Atlanta. And Miraculous just playing some coverage there on St. Green. And for the first time, the ball sails a little too high. And Miraculous right there coming up with a huge turnover. And that is Pickler's second INT of the game.
They call this secondary the air traffic control from Atlanta. Showing you why right there. Second pick of the game. Won by Miraculous in the second half. And now BDG Hollywood trying to bounce it outside, going the wrong way. Makes a stiff arm and eventually gets out of bounds and stops the clock. And Chris Henry got the touchdown-saving interception in the first half for Atlanta.
And Hollywood has the lead, still doing work. What you want Atlanta to work on here a little bit is the clock. You do have a 2-point lead, and the clock is running with less than 7 minutes to play.
Well, any score on this drive for Atlanta makes it so that London can't win with a touchdown. Chisholm takes the ball away from Hendricks and then turns upfield for a first down.
And Chisholm just having a ridiculous game right now. Over a dozen catches, over 150 yards. And when they've needed a big play, he has delivered. And he does it again right there. What an outstanding game from the 10th-year veteran.
I want to cast your mind back to halftime and the halftime show with Cam, Eric, and Mike when they said that this could be the season for London to start contending, and then Mike St. Green predicted Atlanta making the championship game. That's a handoff, and Hollywood doesn't get much. Actually, loses a yard, 2nd and 11. But the way these two teams are playing right now, hey, this could be a playoff game potentially down the road.
No, nobody could dispute that at this point. We're seeing a lot of great plays on both sides of the ball from both teams.
Dynasty, whoa, look out. He just chucked it over the middle as he was going down, and the rookie Roosevelt bails him out. 3rd down and 6.
And Roosevelt, who has not had Boo Chisholm-like volume so far, says, I got to make the best of every opportunity I can get. And he's going to go down there and reach those tough-to-get balls and get himself his 5th catch of the game.
4 wide, split by 2. Hollywood in the backfield with Dynasty. Dynasty throws, and it's knocked away. Excellent coverage on the corner.
That's Emmanuel Blackman, who had an outstanding rookie year last season. 2 interceptions, 4 passes knocked down at season 16. Gets a pass deflection here to start season 17.
Well, if you like what you're seeing right now, come back in a couple of weeks, because these two teams rematch in Atlanta in week 5. And based on what we've seen so far, that might be, game of the week territory when we get there. Fair catch called for and taken by Saren Storm. That was a huge sequence by the London defense. They're still only down 2.
And they could drive down the field, get a field goal, and take the lead. But as we've mentioned with the spread offense, Michael, it is not conducive to chewing on clock. How much time will they leave? That is presuming Pickler can't get his team down the field with some of his receivers getting some stone-cold hands. Pickler's got to show his mettle right here.
Pickler takes the high snap, launches it down the middle. One-handed catch by Calia. He's in a foot race down the sideline, and he's going to be dragged down by Jay Miraculous. What a way to flip the field on the first play of the drive.
And that is just a tremendous throw by Pickler, putting this in a tight window. I mean, this is just a 5-yard route. He kind of stutters, and Calia makes the adjustment on the ball, and then suddenly he's off to the races. There's nobody else around him. He had a chance to break that. That's just a 5 or 7 yard route. I mean, that's nothing serious until Calia gets his hands on it, but Pickler hit him in stride, and that's why that turned out to be so lethal.
Almost approaching the red zone now for London. They're already in field goal range. 1st and 10 at the 24. Pickler under center. 5 wide receivers to aim at. Cross the middle. It's caught. And down inside the 10 goes Calia again.
And Pickler's got to be closing in on 500 yards at this point. Just another well-thrown ball, another tight window. A great catch there. I think that's Saren Storm, the fourth-year wide receiver, making a big catch there. Getting inside the 10. It's 1st and goal London.
That pass unofficially puts Pickler at 495, excuse me, at 511. So he is over 500 yards passing unofficially. First and goal from the 8. Pickler working the clock, down to 4 minutes to go. Handoff, left side. Merrill breaking tackles and scores!
Outstanding. The air show gives way to the London Underground, or just barely above ground. Robert Merrill getting it done on the ground game. London takes the lead.
Robert Merrill, his second touchdown of the game, first of the rushing variety. Only had 5 rushing touchdowns on 446 rushing yards a season ago. And he's not going to get a lot of carries this season, especially with the game plan that we've seen today, but he has made the most of his few opportunities today.
He really has, and he's going to have to get used to taking second billing to the Johnny Pickler air show. But my goodness, what a performance for him today. 2 touchdowns.
5-point lead for London. 3:58 to go. I can see a world here where Atlanta scores and then Pickler has the ball in his hands with a chance to walk it off.
That's quite possible. It really depends on what Atlanta decides to do here on offense. And they've been getting a lot of chunk plays as well with Hollywood and Chisholm. Maybe they try and mix it up here a little bit, or maybe they go for it all in one shot.
Roosevelt to the outside, dragged down at the 31. Visit the SFL website at simulationfl.net. The links to apparel from Sector 6, the official apparel provider of the Simulation Football League. SFL mini helmets from 9-7 Sports Promotions. Sector 6 features replica jerseys and completely customized jackets, flags, t-shirts, and more. Get the gear the fans wear with Sector 6 and 97 Sports Promotions and the SFL. Bryant Dynasty now under pressure to perform. Gets it out to Hollywood. Oh, look out, there's spin moves again, and he's got another one, and he breaks free, and he's down to midfield.
Just an absolute gamer, BDG Hollywood. Making defenders miss. Turning chicken salad out of you-know-what. Making 2 defenders miss. Making a 3rd miss. And telling Max Scarborough, very fortunate he was able to get back up into that play and corral Hollywood, who's already got his team close to midfield.
They place the ball at the 48-yard line. A free play, and it's going to be a fullback dive. And we'll take this opportunity to catch our breath and send it to Cam and Eric in the studio. Gentlemen.
Thanks, Torillo. Eric, Tulsa gets a much-needed stop late.
They got the stop late. A big sack here deep in their own territory. Tulsa going to have 1 timeout and about 1:45 to go here in the ball game, so still a chance for them to tie it up.
They've got the football back, and almost picked there. Oh, it's crazy right now. Let's go back to Torillo and Benji in London. Benji. Benji's there too. Torillo and Zirko in London.
Thank you, Cam. Usually, yes, Benji Matson is in the booth up here with me. Right now, he's on the sidelines. He plays tight end for London. High snap into the flat. Pass is caught by Show Nuff, the 3rd tight end on the depth chart, and he picks up 9, picks up 4 after the penalty, 2nd down and 1.
Yeah, so 2nd inch is not quite enough, but a great catch there. Dynasty still spreading the ball around as we are less than 3 minutes of regulation here.
Remember, a field goal does the Swarm no good. Got to get it into the end zone. Out to Hollywood, room to run. The spin move doesn't fool Rain Rie that time, and it is a 1st down for Atlanta.
And the clock continues to run. And if you're Bryant Dynasty, you don't want to march quite into the red zone. I think it makes a lot of sense to take a shot or 2 from here. Conserve some clock if you do get an incomplete. Don't march in.
They're going to hand it to Hollywood, and that time it didn't go very well. And they're going to go to the up-tempo offense in the power I. Hollywood. Strong side left, nothing doing. 3rd and 9. A disastrous turn of events for Atlanta as they're stuck in a run-first formation here. And they're going to be saved by the 2-minute warning. Atlanta trying to pull the shocker in London. Last 2 minutes of play when we come back. This is the Simulation Football League presented by APM Music on For the Fans.
Eric.
Live from Queensway in London. Atlanta 33, London 38. It's 3rd down and 9. Dynasty looking over the middle. It's caught, and it's going to be short. Ryan Roosevelt could not fight through the tackle of Jeff Gagne, and it's 4th down and 1. And what do you do here if you're Atlanta?
Well, I don't know what else you would do. You got to go to BDG Hollywood. This guy's been getting it done for you. It's 1 yard. You got to get it done. Get Mitchell O'Brien in the game, which they've done. But you give it to your superstar.
4th down and potentially ball game here with 1:30 left. It is BDG. He's trying to get the edge. He won't get there. He won't get there. Rain Rie stopped him, and London takes the ball over on downs.
And Rain Rie read that play the whole way and got right to the point of attack. Hollywood had no chance to turn upfield. It looks like that was number 69. Selwyn Lane was in there as well, doing a great job of keeping contained on Hollywood until Rie came back to the rescue, and Atlanta turns it over.
And now Atlanta's going to have to get a 3 and out and some help from timeouts here. 1:28 to go. Pickler hands it off, and a large lane up the middle for Robert Merrill in the first timeout for Atlanta.
And this is the other thing to think about too, Michael. Robert Merrill's only had 4 carries in this game. He is in perfect condition to close this thing out. He's as fresh as a daisy at this point. You could run him the rest of the game, and I don't think it would make too big of a difference in terms of his stamina at all.
Well, with a space to run through as large as a 4-lane highway, it's kind of easy to be a running back if your offensive line's doing that for you.
That certainly does not hurt.
2nd down and less than a yard. It's going to be Pickler to throw. Pickler unleashes, and it's almost picked on the deflection. What a disastrous play for London. Atlanta has another chance. Jay Miraculous with his 2nd interception of the ball game. Off the deflection by Moose Papito.
And why are you throwing it in this situation? You're up 5. You're up 5. All you got to do is kill the clock. Don't throw it. Don't give it away.
There's an opportunity for Moose Papito, who has been the greatest victim of the Johnny Pickler show today. Brian Dynasty forced to move in the pocket. He finds his receiver downfield. It's Casey Morgan, the backup. Everybody getting involved. Atlanta calls their second timeout. We go to Cameron Irvine one more time to see how St. Louis and Tulsa are doing.
Torillo, this is how the ball game ended. Tulsa had 9 seconds to go and had the ball on the 12. And Eric, what happened here?
Oh, my heart is in my stomach for the Tulsa Desperados. A perfect play call and just an inexplicable spot by the referee. He got in. Jason Franz got in, but they ruled it down at the goal line. Ball game over. Gladiators walk off with a win.
Over the middle, caught by Falco for 3. Atlanta's got to go. Thanks, Cam and Eric. Heartbreak for Tulsa. St. Louis wins the first game of the season. Under a minute to go now, 2nd and 6. Plenty of time for Dynasty to unload. It's deflected and incomplete, and you almost thought that Siege Falco might have had a chance at that off of the deflection.
He did. He had the position on it, but couldn't quite turn around to face the ball. And it might have actually hit him in the shoulder. I'm not sure he was even ready for it. But definitely missed opportunity there from Atlanta.
St. Louis, after a fantastic season 16, they made the playoffs. They're back in the win column with a win over Tulsa here. London trying to hang on. It's been the offensive show all day for the Knights, but can the defense force the stop? It's over the middle. It's caught and fumbled into the end zone. Who picked it up? It looks like Falco did for the touchdown.
Unbelievable. We're going to have to see a review on this. Ball loose in the end zone, and Falco with 5 jerseys around him recovers it in the end zone. There's going to be a review.
Oh, of course there's going to be a review. I'm hearing from Cameron Irvine, our producer, that even if this is ruled a fumble, they marked him short of the end zone. But this might get called back. This is the biggest moment of the game. And I can't think that Boo Chisholm made a football move before that ball came out.
Well, I don't know. We've seen this go each direction, depending on the call.
It's going to go the way of the Knights. Incomplete pass. What a challenge. Or sorry, what a review. There are no challenges inside the last 2 minutes. 4th and 6 for Atlanta with 50 seconds left. And I'm going to say it again. 4th down and ball game.
Who do you think they're going to throw it to here, Michael?
They've got a bevy of receivers, and all of them are out there. Bryant Dynasty alone in the gun, 5 wide plus the tight end. He's got time to throw. It's going to be to the goal line. It's going to be caught. It's a touchdown for Atlanta. It's Siege Falco, and the Atlanta Swarm have taken the lead. Oh, my goodness.
48th career touchdown for Siege Falco, 49th, his second of the game, and Dynasty puts us on an absolute rope. How does he come up with this? Between 2 defenders, Rain Rie right there, but Falco snatches it off his shoulder, and Atlanta takes the lead with 46 seconds remaining.
And you say, potential game of the season right now. Atlanta's going for 2 to put themselves up by 3. Correct decision, in my opinion. They're going to hand it off to Hollywood. Hollywood is short. He didn't get there.
Oh, wow. I think that's the right call, though. You go heavy, you give it to your superstar.
It didn't look like he got there. And he didn't. It's a 1-point game.
And look who's getting the ball back here, Michael.
Johnny Pickler with 46 seconds to go, and all they need to do is get it into field goal range. London has stopped Atlanta twice on 2-point conversions. That's 4 points off the board. And if both have been converted, or even if one of them's converted, then London needs a touchdown to win. But now all they need to do is get into the range for McLongfellow to kick a field goal. What an absolutely insane game here in week 1. Both quarterbacks over 500 yards passing.
Well, that's a pretty good game. 1,000 yards of total passing offense and more to come.
Pickler He has the open man. It's St. Green turns
Get out
up
of
to
bounds.
advice to spin away, and he didn't get out of bounds. And London is forced to call their first timeout. That's huge.
Yeah, big misstep by a veteran like St. Green. Get out of bounds. Don't hit the spin cycle now. It's 2-minute drill. You got to think about time. You got to think about field position.
If you know somebody that loves football and they're not watching this game, get them in here. We've got 35 seconds of fun and excitement left for you. 2nd down and 1 after the pickup of 9. Remember, London has 2 timeouts left. Pickler alone in the gun. High snap, quick throw underneath. That's going to be a first down. But it is not college, so they don't stop the clock. Up tempo we go. 25 seconds left. The defense gets set. Pickler takes the snap. He's got a 4-man front coming at him. He once again throws underneath, and it's a timeout London. They've got 1 timeout left, 17 seconds left, and it may be looking like it's Hail Mary time in London.
And Atlanta doing a nice job of getting pass rushers into the backfield. Pickler's having to hustle some of these throws. They are completions, but the Swarm doing all they can to get in Pickler's face. They're just coming up a step or 2 short.
Pickler's got to start throwing to the sidelines. They've only got 1 timeout left in 17 seconds. Remember, all they got to do is get into field goal range. Pickler, a swing pass to Merrill. He's got the sideline. He cuts it back. The stutter step, and he stays in bounds. 8 seconds left. Did he get enough for them to attempt the field goal? I think they might. 3 seconds, they call the timeout. Did they get close enough for McLongfellow to try the field goal?
Well, this is going to be really close. This is going to be from 49 yards. And unless you've drafted a kicker or had somebody high profile like Atlanta has with Sammy Steele, you're taking your life into your own hands at this point. 49 yards for the win. Nick Longfellow, quite a tall task ahead of him. And I'm not sure this is something London anticipated when they made the decision to go with Nick Longfellow at the start of the season.
It's going to be a 49.5-yarder for the win. The snap. The kick is away. It is goal! London calling! The Knights have beaten Atlanta for the first time ever, and the London Knights win it 41-39. Ball game over. The kicker, the hero.
And they just call him Mick Longfellow. That's an outstanding kick. That would have been good for 52 or 53. Right down the pipe to give London their first win of the season.
Once again, their first ever win over the Atlanta Swarm. The series is one-sided no longer. What an epic contest on a Sunday afternoon, week 1 of the SFL season. We've still got 11 more weeks of action after this.
Pretty good game, huh, Mike?
I don't think, I'm saying it right now. If there is a game this season that beats this out for Game of the Year, I will be very surprised, because this was a barn burner from start to finish. It had everything. Long passing touchdowns, a fantastic quarterback battle, big plays on defense, clutch plays down the stretch, and a walk-off field goal to win it at the end.
And we're watching this play by Brian Dynasty, who shrugged a defensive lineman off his back to complete this pass to Boo Chisholm. What a game he had. Over 500 yards, 40 of 49 passing, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions for Dynasty. Completed that pass there to the rookie Ryan Roosevelt, who I thought looked very good, not only on offense, but in special teams as well. And Atlanta's got to feel great about the way they played. BDG Hollywood came up with huge plays when his team needed them. And they fought this thing out to the absolute end. But it was London with their brand new quarterback, Johnny Pickler, 548 yards, 4 touchdowns, and he did have 3 interceptions. But my goodness, if you are a London Knights fan, you've got a lot to be excited about here in season 17. This is a brand new team, and I don't know if they stick with these black jerseys the rest of the season, but they've got to think about it. They looked sharp, not just on the field, but on the scoreboard as well.
Once again, your final score, London 41, Atlanta 39, and it is a walk-off field goal by Peter McLongfellow that wins the game for London after we had thought Atlanta had stolen it on a last-minute touchdown by Siege Falco. Man, I wish we had about an hour more on air just to break down everything that happened in this game. Because even looking back at the drive that ended the ball game, if you don't get that ridiculous play where Merrill takes a swing pass, tiptoes down the sideline for 30 yards, gets a nice block, you don't get that game-winning field goal.
No, it is performances like that. And we talked about the backup receivers and the backup defensive backs for Atlanta as well, whether it was Corey Mickens or Casey Morgan. Those guys chipped in as well. And both teams needed a wealth of talent and a wealth of big plays just to hang in this thing. And there's that swing pass you're talking about, getting down right there, right before London called timeout with 3 seconds left to set it up for McLongfellow. What a game.
Your player of the game in his inaugural stint in a London jersey is Johnny Pickler, 548 yards, 4 touchdowns. We're going to head to break, and when we come back, it's Cameron Irvine and Eric Vincent in the studio. Good luck breaking this one down, as well as the crazy finish to the Tulsa game, and then getting you set for the final games of week number 1. For Josh Zirkle, my analyst, Shan Varner, and Delaney Nash on stats, I have been Michael Torillo, saying so long, and have a very pleasant good afternoon.
Wowza, welcome to the Simulation Football postgame. That was one of the greatest double block of games that we have ever had here, Eric. That was a sensational pair of games that ended in St. Louis and London victories. Just start wherever you want, Eric, because you could go anywhere.
Where do I start, honestly? We'll start with the game we had on this network here, the London Knights and the Atlanta Swarm. Just Torillo hit the nail on the head, a barn burner from start to finish. All gas, no brakes. There was no run game whatsoever from either of these teams, and that's totally fine. Almost 1,200 total yards of offense between these two teams. And at the end of the day, I think it came down to a couple failed two-point conversions on Atlanta's part. And that was the difference in the ball game, unfortunately.
And they weren't bad attempts either.
No.
There was a quarterback pressure that kind of messed up the timing, and then Hollywood was just short. Speaking of just short, the call in Tulsa that gets St. Louis a 24-17 victory. If I recall, last season, St. Louis won the game at the goal line when playing Tulsa. That was a very close game, too, in Tulsa, and St. Louis ended up winning that ball game. But we're going to have to run the tape on that Jason France catch because he looked like he scored. We were stunned here at studio when they marked him short of the goal line. No review. St. Louis gets the win.
Yeah, and that was it right there. You're watching the play in real time, and you're looking at it, and it was a perfect pass, a perfect run by Jason France. And at first glance, he got into the end zone, but inexplicably was marked down right at the goal line. Tulsa, with no more timeouts, could not stop the clock in time, and it ended up being a victory for St. Louis.
It's too bad we couldn't get you to bonus coverage. We did our best, but you can't control live action. But we kept you up to date as best we could. That was one heck of a game. And it just goes to show you, Eric, if you're watching on For the Fans or Next Level Sports around the world, check out our Twitch channel as well on game day because we got action going on over there all day long too. So with that being said, let's look at tonight's remaining games here in Week 1. On the FTF Twitch channel, you'll see Los Angeles and Baltimore. On the SFL Twitch channel, you'll see DC and Vancouver. If it's anything like the first 4 games we've had today, which it should be one heck of a great show. Anything stick out to you in the nightcap, Eric?
I am intrigued by the DC Dragons this season. They've got a good squad. They've got great ownership. Destro knows what he's doing, and against a big-time team like the Vancouver Legion in Week 1, that is going to be a good test for him. And on the other side, Baltimore, I called it, saying that they're the most complete roster in this league. We'll have to see how they do against the second season Los Angeles Lycans.
Those kickoff times a bit delayed because we ran over here today on FTF. LA and Baltimore will kick off at roughly 5:30 Eastern. DC and Vancouver will kick off roughly 5:45 Eastern. So that's a look at the rest of the day. We have had one heck of a day on For the Fans. And join us back here Friday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, Friday football to get you through your workday. We've got a whole block of games starting with Sioux Falls and Tulsa. That should be a good one. For Eric, I'm Cam. We'll see you later. Thanks for being here.
for the fans, welcomes you to the following presentation of the Simulation Football